So this is my NXT review of the kind of like go home show for Slammiversary. I think it was fine, like perfectly like acceptable show, serviceable show because it's mostly like setting things up for next week because they are having a show in Houston, Texas. So they're setting up a lot of things. So this show kind of felt like you didn't really need to watch the show, like you didn't really miss anything, but I would say like the Dark State versus the Joe Henry Santana and Trick Williams match was actually good until the system came down. You know, JDC, Eddie Edwards, and Brian Myers, and probably they're having a match at Slammiversary. So we'll see like if they interfere in the TNA like championship triple threat or something. I think the show started like with JC Jane, like boasting that she won. Like people call her the most beatable champion, and then it kind of looks like they're gonna do a fatal influence dissension storyline because she kind of blamed the other members of the fatal influence, especially Jasmine Nix, because she lost at Great American Bash. And I'm like, one thing that I don't get, the way people talk about JC Jane on like Twitter and everything, like they talk about her like she's Mandy Rose or something, that she doesn't know how to wrestle. Like she's perfectly fine. I think she has grown into this role of being a single star. Of course, she's not some 5 star like match having woman or like she's some like maverick on the mic, but she's like serviceable. Like she's 3.5 on the mic and in the ring. Like she's perfectly fine. It's just that I don't like this dissension storyline because I want them to be called up to the main roster as a whole. Because you see in Triple H's booking is that he always has like a main heel group who like the baby faces go up against. Either they are kind of like the heaters table, like who are there for like main eventers to get their like to heat back or to like propel mid carders to the main event scene. And I think Fatal Influence can do that easily in the women's division, especially like now that you have two mid card titles. Like you can have them be that heel group that can elevate a lot of people. I don't think all three of them separate will have that much success. Like JC Jane, I think if ever they are thinking of having her as a single star, she does kind of need she does kind of need Fatal Influence. Like Jasmine Nix doesn't have a career without Fatal Influence. Like she does the bare minimum. Like that she is just like even in the 6 woman tag match like they have, like she probably did the most on this episode that she has done in her own career. like, like you can see like they have also like integrated that into her character, like when she got the better of I think it was Masha in the match, and she was just smiling because it's like even she couldn't believe that she got the better of her. So I think they were only Fallon Henley is the one among them that can legit, if you like send her alone to the main roster, she would probably be a main event star in like a few weeks. But they're doing that because Masha and JC are having a title versus title winner takes all match at Slammiversary, and I think probably this is going to be TNA's biggest crowd because they're near 5,000 tickets sold. I don't think TNA ever in their history have sold 5,000 tickets. Of course, the arena is like 11,000, 16,000 people, but TNA has run arenas before, like during Hogan's time and everything. Like they really shot above their means there. But it looks like in the end they had Masha, the TNA Women's Champion, pin Monroe, no, pin JC Jane, because they had the culling come out and them and Sol Ruka and Zarya like fending them off, and you had Hank and Tank also fending off the rest of the culling, and I'm like, why are we going back to that? Like, didn't Sol Ruka just beat Izzy Dame? Didn't Hank and Tank just beat the culling on the NXT before Great American Bash? Why are we going back to that? Like, why don't you have like Hank and Tank go after some other team like High Rise? Why don't you have High Rise feud with them? Why not? Why don't you have like the Dark State probably after Slammiversary feud with Hank and Tank? Like if you're still having this Izzy Dame like Tatum Paxley stuff with Soul Ruka and Zara, either do like a triple threat or a fatal four way at Heatwave. Otherwise, it doesn't make like it's just the same stuff. But because Masha pinned JC Jane, are they gonna have JC Jane become both the TNA and NXT Women's Champion? The thing is, this partnership has been the most like near equal partnership I have seen like WWE have with any company, like the NXT TNA partnership. Like the like top main eventers have gone to NXT shows and they have lost there. Like I remember when Ethan Page lost the NXT championship and he went there and he had like a feud with Frankie Kazarian and he lost. Like Fatal Influence before like JC Jane won the NXT Women's Championship, went there with Tessa Blanchard, lost there. Like Cora Jade when they're lost. Like so people have been going there and they have been losing. Of course TNA talent have also been losing. Like I don't like having Trick Williams as your TNA champion and also having JC Jane as your women's champion, I think that will just make this partnership lopsided. Either have some interference happening which results in like no one becoming double champion, or have Masha Slamovich win. Because anyways, WWE had Masha Slamovich on her radar. It's like, but TNA quickly re-signed her like a few months back because they're like, we know WWE is snooping around, but let's like re-sign her back. So she's probably there for like 2 years, 3 years, anyways. And if you make her double champion, like you can give her the experience in NXT, and when eventually her contract runs out, she would come to WWE. Like the same thing they did with Jordan Grace. Like they had her when she was TNA champion. Like she had appearances on NXT. Like they showed what we can give you, and then when her contract did run out, like a year, 1.5 years after that, she signed to WWE. So like I hope like they don't do that stuff. And you had a lot of the thing we have to give is WWE like actually promoted Slammiversary, and because of this they'll probably have a lot of people watching Slammiversary. One thing also is that maybe TNA allows this because I do think WWE is trying to get TNA a TV deal, because you had Carlos Silva talking about it in like Ariel Helwani's podcast that they're looking at like a 10 million per year a TV deal, which probably won't break even, but they're probably looking at networks like Sci-Fi and everything, and if WWE like helps them, maybe they're like, okay, we'll let you become champions of our brand, because you can see like WWE will not buy TNA. They'll probably use TNA as like a television program to like counter program AEW, which of course they won't be able to do that to that extent, but they'll probably get more viewers than Collision. And like if you get another company, another American wrestling company on a bigger network, like there is enough competition there where like the smaller guy, like it will hurt them eventually, which I think what WWE plan is regarding that. And the rest of the show, like Jasper Troy versus Ricky Saints was set up for next week. I didn't like how they did this, because they insinuated that Ricky Saints lost because Jasper Troy interfered, like the video package that they did, which is not what happened. Like Jasper Troy did attack Ricky Saints because he bumped into him in that false count anywhere, but even after that, like Ricky Saints got the better of Ethan Page even despite the interference, and in the end Ethan Page won like cleanly. Like you could have just done the finish like how it was supposed to happen. Like the story that you're telling is that like Ricky lost because of interference. Like why didn't you just do that? I just don't get it. Like why didn't you just do that? So you're having that next week also. And after the match, like the six-man tag match, Trick Williams with Undertaker's like LFG, his LFG team. he was like mocking them, and like Undertaker did his like my career 2K tweet that I will be there next week. He'll probably give Trick Williams a choke slam next week on NXT. So that's gonna happen also. You also had, Callie Armstrong, the Evolve champion, facing Carmen Petrovic, and I'm so glad to see that she's back on TV because I thought like, where has she gone? Are they cutting her or something? Though I don't like how like Jordan Grace just came and like destroyed both of them. It's like you could have found you I get what you're trying to do. You're giving your Evolve champion like some exposure on national television, but this kind of makes her look weak, and it's not like the match even went long for people to have some kind of impression of her. So in the end, like she beat both of their asses, and then she was there like, where is Blake Monroe? Then Stevie Turner and Stone came out, and she, like they're the Walls like general managers, and they're like, she's not here. And then you had the vignettes, like the 50s Hollywood vignettes that Blake Monroe has. But now the thing is that the glamour is now heel. So the narrator is also like, Blake Monroe despises everything Jordan Grace represents, and it's like she doesn't deserve to even like wear her shoes. Like she doesn't deserve to be NXT Women's Champion. And you had like great stuff here. Like you could see the Mariah May in Blake Monroe. Like the way her like tone in her voice has changed because she's a heel. Her facial expressions have changed. How at the start it was just like like 50s, like, oh, melodious music, and then it suddenly turned into like sinister brooding music when like her whole expressions changed, and she was like, next week you're cordially invited to my singles debut, and where I will show like why I am who I am and why you are who you are. And like the whole like tone shifted, and then the promo ended. Jordan Grace gave like a spine buster to Stone, even gave like a clothesline to Stevie Turner, and stormed out. You also had a backstage segment where Lash Legend, because she was the runner up, and she's like, whoever wins at Slammiversary is going to face her uh, at Heatwave for the NXT Women's Championship. But then Jada Parker interrupted her and was like, they were chanting my name also. I eliminated Natalia and everyone. So even I deserve an NXT Women's Championship. I can see probably Jada versus Lash Legend happening maybe next to next week, and probably because you have like a program going on between Thea Hall and Jada Parker. Probably Thea Hall interferes, Lash Legend wins, and whoever is the champion goes on to face Lash Legend at and apart from that, you had Yoshiki Inamura. So, so after you also had like the Briggs, Inamura, and Obafemi segment, where Briggs essentially was like, Inamura didn't win because he was like too soft to do what was needed to be done. He also showed that he was kind of jealous of him. The thing is, Briggs is not bad on the mic. It's just that there like there are points in a promo where you have to like emphasize on certain words, or where the way you speak those sentences matter. The thing is, he's very like one tone, and his voice is really not that intimidating. It kind of feels like he's a needy bitch sometimes when he talks. And you can see that like the crowd was chanting like, turn off the mic whenever Briggs was talking. Like you have to give it to him that he powered through that. Like he just kept saying whatever he had to say. And then Oba Femi came out, and he's like, you know what, even if you hadn't interfered, I still would have won. I am the ruler. And then Inamura comes out, and Inamura is like, Briggs, I would do anything that needs to be done. It's just that I would do it with honor. And that is what was. And then Briggs said that, why don't we do a triple threat match next week? So it was also announced that it would be a triple threat for the NXT Championship next week. And then they had like a brawl or something where Briggs inadvertently hit Inamura in the eye. And what's probably gonna pick in, I think, in the triple threat. Oba is gonna pick Inamura because of the friendship between Inamura and Briggs, and probably after the match, Briggs turns heel on Inamura, and maybe either like he turns heel and takes him out of action, and Inamura goes back to Noah, or either he turns heel and then they have a match, number one contendership match. He's a heel, and then either he wins by cheating or something, and then probably at Heatwave we'll see Oba versus Josh Briggs for the NXT Championship. So things have been set up. So one thing that you can say is that Shawn Michaels has set things up for Heatwave. Like he doesn't need to like now clamor because someone is there like to steal his talents away from him for the main roster. So everything is set. And next week, like you're also having Liz Monroe versus like Ren Sinclair. Always her role in to make her opponent look good, and she does that. So Ren Sinclair will do her stuff. Tavion and Charlie Dempsey are gonna be in her corner next week. Let's see what happens. Like, I would love for Tavion Heights to get like a singles match against Oba Femi. Like you can see they're clearly building up Miles Bone as well. Like they gave him a cute little storyline with him. And I hope they give something to Tavion Heights as well. Like he has proved it enough to get like a mini program with Oba Femi. Also in the main event, you had Lexus King wearing noise cancelling headphones in the crowd because Miles Bone is deaf, and he told Miles Bone that I can walk a mile in your shoes. I actually laughed there. Like I actually laughed. It was quite funny. And then Ava came out, screamed at him, and took him out. Also, you had the D'Angelo family triple threat. Like you had vignettes all throughout the show where it showed like their history, their rise and fall, like about how who Stax was, how like Tony D'Angelo came out. One thing is it shows that how many years that Tony D'Angelo has been in NXT. Like he was there before WrestleMania 38. Like it's been more than 3 years that he has been in developmental. One thing is that Tony D'Angelo's gimmick is kind of goofy, but I think on the main roster it can work because he has shown that you can start with the gimmick being like goofy, like sleeping with the fishes and everything, and when he eventually gets over, you can do the underdog gimmick that I have worked so hard and everything. Then he can go into that Italian like I am the baby face, like strong man and everything, which he showed in this match, especially the ending. First thing is that Luca really showed out in this match, like Luca Crucifino, and before the ending I was like, yeah man, I'm Luca should win because he was so like smooth in the ring, like the moves that he was doing. One thing is the person that they do want to push stacks looked probably the weakest in the match, and in the end, like I didn't expect that spear through the barricade because that is not where usually the barricade spears happen. So so that's kind of smart of them to do that. And then the way that Stacks flew out of the torn barricade, like he was like blown out of a cannon or something. And then D'Angelo putting Luca through the table, then coming into the ring and putting Stacks like into a spine buster and then winning, and then him leaving the hat, the mafia like hat on the ring post and then leaving. Like what is next for Tony D'Angelo? One thing is that now that now they have a bunch of men in the singles division that they can build a division around. Earlier they didn't, and you could see that like during Trick Williams' reign, like how lackluster it was, and how like they had to bring in guys from TNA, like they had to like give Ridge Holland a big push, like he had to destroy Chase U for to look like a credible heel against Trick Williams. Now they have people there. Now, like all three of them can be single stars in the division. Is just that what do you do with Tony D'Angelo next? Like only thing that I can see is him having like a feud with Oba Femi because he did beat him for the NXT North American Championship, and I think that can probably be Tony D'Angelo's last feud because you have to call him up. Either call him up or like cut him because how many years are you gonna have him there? Like he has done everything. Like he has been two-time NXT Tag Team Champion. He has been in War Games. He has done this like face storyline. He has had a face turn. He has been a heel. He like everything he has done. Like he has been the North American champion. Like what else can he do? Like he really doesn't have anything left to do. You can say that Rizzo and Luca and Stacks need to be at the developmental level because they